The Stargate Project is one of the strangest confirmed programs ever funded by the U.S. government. Not because it involved advanced weapons or secret aircraft, but because it asked a much more unsettling question. Can the human mind gather intelligence without using the body at all? From the early 1970s through 1995, U.S. intelligence agencies quietly explored psychic functioning under a classified effort eventually known as Project Stargate. At its core, Stargate focused on remote viewing, a process where individuals attempted to describe distant locations, objects, or events using only mental perception. Viewers were given nothing but a coordinate or randomly assigned target number. They then recorded impressions, sketches, textures, emotions, and spatial layouts. These sessions were logged, archived, and sometimes passed to intelligence analysts. This was not casual experimentation. It was structured, repeatable, and funded for over 2 decades. The reason this program existed at all comes straight out of Cold War anxiety. Intelligence reports suggested that the Soviet Union was pouring resources into psychic and psychotronic research. U.S. officials did not need to believe in psychic phenomena to be concerned. They only needed to believe that the Soviets might. In that climate, ignoring unconventional intelligence methods felt riskier than exploring them. Much of Stargate's early work took place at Stanford Research Institute, led by physicists Harold Puthoff and Russell Targ. This is where some of the program's most well-known figures emerged. Ingo Swann, who helped design the controlled remote viewing methodology, and Pat Price, a former police officer whose sessions would become legendary within paranormal circles. One of the most frequently discussed cases involves Pat Price remotely viewing a Soviet facility he had never seen before. He described massive crane structures, underground areas, and specific layouts. Later, satellite imagery revealed a large gantry crane at the site. Supporters argue that this was too specific to dismiss. Skeptics counter that the data was interpreted after the fact. What's undisputed is that intelligence officials took it seriously enough to document and circulate internally. Remote viewers were tasked with real-world problems. They attempted to locate hostages, downed aircraft, missing military personnel, and weapon sites. Some sessions were labeled interesting or promising in internal notes. Others were contradictory or symbolic. Stargate never replaced traditional intelligence gathering, but it did linger for years as a strange, unofficial supplement. By the mid-1990s, the CIA commissioned an independent review by the American Institute for Research. The conclusion was blunt. Results were inconsistent, not reliably repeatable, and not useful for operational intelligence. In 1995, Project Stargate was officially shut down and its existence was declassified. On paper, that's where the story ends. Like most things, once Stargate entered the public record, theories exploded. One widely held belief in paranormal communities is that the project was far more successful than admitted and simply moved deeper underground. The idea is that once psychic functioning proved real, it became too sensitive to remain visible. There is no public evidence confirming an active successor program, but the long duration of Stargate does fuel this suspicion. Another theory claims Stargate expanded beyond location viewing into time-based perception, including viewing future events or alternate timelines. While official protocols focused on present targets, some remote viewers later claimed experiences that felt non-linear, leading to speculation that consciousness itself is not bound by time. Some researchers and viewers have suggested that remote viewing accessed a non-local field of information, sometimes described as the Akashic records, collective consciousness, or a universal data stream. This idea appears frequently in metaphysical interpretations, but does not appear in declassified intelligence conclusions. More controversial theories suggest Stargate brushings against non-human intelligence, not aliens in a sci-fi sense, but something outside ordinary human perception. This belief comes largely from symbolic imagery reported in sessions rather than official claims. No documents confirm extraterrestrial contact, but the ambiguity keeps the conversation alive. There are also persistent claims that Stargate tied into other classified programs involving consciousness manipulation, psychic defense, or mental shielding. Again, documentation does not confirm this, but the overlap in timelines with other Cold War psychological research does invite speculation. Project Stargate continues to occupy a rare space. It is not folklore, it is not rumor. It is a declassified intelligence program that openly explored psychic functioning and refused to fully explain what was happening. For paranormal researchers, that alone is enough to keep the door cracked open. Whether Stargate failed, succeeded quietly, or uncovered something science still can't explain depends on how you interpret the gaps. What remains undeniable is this. For over 20 years, the U.S. government seriously investigated the possibility that consciousness itself could cross distance, walls, and borders. And once that question is asked, it doesn't really go away. What are your thoughts on this project? Thanks for joining us for another piece of haunted history. We will see you next time.